Have you ever really stopped to think about what it takes for a flower to create just one tiny grain of pollen? It's this whole hidden world, right? A microscopic manufacturing plant that is just absolutely incredible. Today, we're going to go on that journey. We're going to uncover the entire intricate process from the very beginning to the final product. I mean, it's kind of mind-boggling, isn't it? How can one flower pump out literally millions of these tiny, powerful grains? It feels like magic, but behind that magic is a brilliant, super organized biological assembly line. So in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how it all works. So here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with the origin story. Then we're going to zoom right in on the specialized structures, kind of like the nursery for pollen. Then we'll get to the really cool part, the incredible cellular transformation at the heart of it all. And finally, we'll pull all the pieces together to see the big picture. Okay, so where does the story of a microscopic pollen grain even begin? You'd probably guess we'd start by looking through a microscope, right? Well, the real origin story actually starts on a much bigger scale than you might think. Yep, you heard that right. Before there's even a speck of pollen, there's a specialized, modified leaf. It's basically a leaf that evolution has totally repurposed for an extraordinary job. This structure is part of the stamen, the male part of a flower. And for us, this is ground zero. So, what do we actually call this specialized leaf? Well, its official name is the microsporophyll, and this is the true home of pollen development. So, what is a microsporophyll? To put it simply, it's a leaf that's been redesigned over time for one specific job, to hold all the equipment that makes pollen. This is not a leaf for soaking up sunlight. Its entire purpose is reproduction. Now, to make all these terms easy to follow, let's use an analogy. I want you to think of the microsporophyll as the entire factory building, okay? It's the big, main structure that houses everything needed for production. Keep this factory in mind because it's going to guide us through the whole process. Okay, so we have our factory building. Now it's time to step inside. We're zooming into what I'm calling the nursery. These are the specific rooms inside the factory where all the real work gets done. And its scientific name is the microsporangium. Now this is the key relationship you need to get. The microsporangium is the structure located inside our factory, the microsporophyll. This is the chamber, the room where pollen is actually born. And you've probably heard of it by its more common name, the pollen sac. Yep, they're the exact same thing. So let's stick with our factory analogy. If the microsporophyll is the whole factory building, then the microsporangia are the dedicated production rooms inside. A single factory can have several of these rooms, and each one is just churning out countless grains of pollen. We've gone from the factory building to the production room. Now we're zooming in even further, down to the cellular level. This is where the magic really, truly happens. So inside each one of these production rooms, each microsporangium, we find our starting ingredient, sporogenous tissue. It's just a dense cluster of identical cells. In our factory, this is the bulk raw material. It's like the big block of clay that's ready to be molded into something amazing. But this raw material doesn't stay generic for long. The individual cells inside that sporogenous tissue start to mature and change, becoming something much more specific, a microspore mother cell, or MMC for short. Each one of these mother cells is now a precursor, and it has one destiny, to divide and create pollen. This slide basically lays out the entire assembly line. Let's just walk through it. First, you've got the raw sporogenous tissue filling up the space. Second, those cells mature, becoming specialized microspore mother cells. Third, and this is the absolute key biological step, each mother cell goes through a very special type of division called meiosis. And what's the incredible result of all that? 4. That's the magic number. This whole process is so incredibly efficient. From every single microspore mother cell that divides, the plant gets 4 brand new genetically unique cells called microspores. This is the biological engine that lets plants produce pollen on such a massive, massive scale. But the journey isn't quite over yet. Each of those 4 microspores now has to go through one last maturation phase. They develop this tough, protective outer wall. And once that happens, it's officially graduated. It is now a fully formed pollen grain, ready to go on its mission. Phew, we've seen all the individual stages, from the big leaf all the way down to the tiny cell. Now, for our final section, let's pull all the way back out and connect all the pieces. It's time to see the big picture and how this amazing chain of command really works together. This table just brings it all together beautifully. Let's trace the path one last time. We start with the microsporophyll, our factory building. Now, inside that factory, we find the microsporangium, our production room. That room is filled with sporangious tissue, the raw material. That material then turns into the microspore mother cell, the precursor product, which then divides to create the pollen grain, our finished product. See? It's a perfect nested hierarchy, from the outside all the way in. So, we've seen how millions of these grains are manufactured with incredible precision, all starting from just a single modified leaf. And that kind of leaves us with one final, really exciting question. Now that this grain of pollen has been born, what incredible journey is waiting for it? What great adventure of wind or water or animal is about to begin? Well, that's a story for another day. Thanks for joining me on this microscopic exploration.